All right, if everyone please stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Morgan Township meeting, May 24th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the Morgan Township Board of Trustee minutes dated May 10th, 2021 as written.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment listing from 5/11/2021 through 5/24/2021, payment number 334-2021 through 367-2021, warrant number 10651 through 10668 for a total of $86,954.09.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right. So we'll go to the audience. I'm going to call Mr. Fernandine up, and then I'll go ahead and present what I had talked to with Mr. Rack, so we know where we're all at. Before I talked to Mr. Rack, I had talked to Kevin Brandowitz, and he mentioned to me that Harrison had been digging like all their lines and water lines and sewer lines a year ahead of time because the ground, it's a certain thing, it won't compact even with the compactors. And what they were doing was letting that sit for a year, and after the year, it would compact on its own after the freeze and thaw in the winter. So I presented that idea also to Mr. Rack. So then he said, let me think on it. He called me back a couple days later, and we talked about where if Mr. Fernandine was to take the piping out, he fills that back in. We wait till the following year, it would be settled in, and then we could go and do what we needed to do. He wouldn't have to worry about the compaction. Actually, nobody would, and it would be done. I know you don't want to pay anything. Easiest way I could come up with it. His original quote was $3,900 to do the grading, but that had nothing to do with taking out the pipe. He says if he goes and he takes where you still take the pipe out and he compacts that back down, you're looking at $800 to $1,000. He didn't know the exact amount because he won't know that until he actually sees what was done, which I can understand that. So that's one way I came up with where you don't want to pay, and I get that. We could still do this. It could still be done. Plus, he also said that he has a bid in on the job. If that bid goes through, he won't have time this summer to even do the job, which would, I guess, work out better in the long run if we went this way. So that's kind of where I'm at and where we went. So I guess I will ask where you're at, what you guys.
Why has the digging it out this
Is the
year?
mic on?
Hit that little button. Sorry, I didn't turn it back on.
Green light.
There we go.
There you go.
So I guess my hesitancy with digging it out this year and nobody compacting it, just sticking it back in, it's all going to wash out by the time somebody gets to it the end of next summer.
Then do you want to pay to,
It will be a 4-foot deep trench by the end of next summer. And I'm going to be in the same spot I'm in right now. That I have 4 foot deep blowholes out in the middle of a field next to a house that has little kids running around.
you won't have portholes if you dig that pipe out.
No, I'm going to have a big trench down through there then, all the way down.
Well, it's no different than a creek running by the house or anything like that. So that's,
I'm not going to create an open ditch that's just going to create more erosion.
then do you want to pay to
I'm
have
trying
the
to prevent
difference?
erosion. No.
Then I don't see where we're going to go, because
Alright.
for us to do it, that pipe needs to come out. And
Nobody
that's-
even knows where that pipe goes to. Okay? We're looking at minutes from the 1991 that say that Mr. Danhauer paid to put in a culvert tile. Doesn't say drain tile, doesn't say field tile, culvert tile. We're assuming that culvert tile runs the length of that ditch. Nobody knows if it runs the length of that ditch or if they put a crossing in at the end of that ditch. Where
Will
it
only
used to
come
be a
out at
lot
the
deeper
end?
than what it is now. At a crossing, yes. There, right now, in the bottom of that culvert, what is that, Rob, a 24-inch culvert?
Correct.
There is 5 inches of sediment in the bottom and currently 3 inches of water on top of that. So that gives you an idea of how much that ditch has filled in over the time since that swale was originally put into it.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but the water is draining,
It's draining into a blowout hole.
but it is draining.
I'm gonna close the blowout holes and then it's not gonna drain correctly. Which is where we're at. We can be proactive or we can be reactive.
Is anybody who put it in originally?
Mr. Combs,
Huh?
Dick Combs.
Oh, okay.
So it's up to you guys what you want to do. I told you I will agree. I will take out that tile. I'm not compacting it. I'm not going to pay to compact it. Our other option is I go fix those blowout holes that are creating a nuisance in the middle of my field and a danger to my neighbors. And we can see what happens with that drainage.
If you dig the tile out and then backfill it, like Brett's suggesting that
Mhm.
Kevin Brandon's and that, obviously they did something like similar to this in Harrison, is what I expect.
They do it with
suspect.
water lines, utility
So-
lines that are typically next to the road, not in a drainage ditch.
But if you do this, you're gonna have, anytime you dig, you're gonna have a mound of dirt.
Yep.
Now, if you drive your backhoe or whatever piece of equipment,
Mhm.
you're digging this ditch, or this piping out, that's gonna compact it somewhat, that it's
To a
not gonna,
point.
it's not going to completely wash out. You know, I'm not saying it's not gonna wash out in the next year,
Mhm.
but it's not, I don't think you're gonna get the 3 and 4 foot sinkholes like you got now with the blowout
And you
holes.
may have to put a few bales of straw different ways. Kinda like they
Step
do.
all the way down there, I'm gonna have to reseed it. At that point, I might as well just regrade this whole thing myself and be done.
If you're just digging that out, you're gonna have what do you got? 12 inch?
12 inch. As soon as I fill it, there's nowhere that water's gonna go. And all it's gonna do is work its way back down through there again. Or it's gonna come out flood my field, or it's gonna go to the neighbors and flood their house. Which then becomes a nuisance to the neighbors.
You know, you couldn't leave part of it like 12 inches down and then pack it so much and
I
then,
don't know where that grade's at running down through there. I would have a hard time believing that if you leave a 12-inch trench down through there, that it's gonna flow directly down that ditch without washing out more.
well, don't that, it comes out what, at the end of the ditch, Rob? That tile?
Before you get to the wood line, it comes out, yes.
There's a tile that comes out there. That is not where all that water's coming out. It is not coming out the end of that tile. Some of it is. But the water that's coming out of that 24-inch tile underneath the road is not coming out of that 6-inch tile at the end. I don't know if there's old clay tile under there, if it's just tunneling under there, or where it's going to, but it is not all coming out the end of that tile.
Well, I have no idea either, and we won't know until you dig it.
Nope. So, it's your guys' call on what you want to do. My choices are I'll take the tile out and leave it at that, or I'm gonna go fix blowholes.
But we don't have an option on RAC doing that job this year anyway. If
I
we're
don't know
worried
if we
about
do
the
or not.
liability, then I would say fill the blowholes and let the water go where it goes, and we'll try to get another contractor to see if we got a better schedule to get it compacted and fixed, and then go from that point.
Well, if he just fixed the blowholes, he's gonna do that and not take the tile out.
Correct.
We need the tile out, don't we?
I mean, we can always take that, I mean, you're only talking several yards of dirt to fill those blowholes. It's not a problem to regrade that out of there, would it? You're not doing a lot of work. You're just resolving the liability part of that.
Right. I'm gonna dig it up and fix whatever's in the bottom of that hole. then I'm gonna fill it back in. Whether it's a clay tile, plastic tile, I don't know what's under there, but
So how many blowholes do you got?
there's at least 3 of them that are sizable right now.
There's 4. 4 good-sized blowholes. Three that are kind of close together, and another one that's a little bit
Farther down.
It's not as deep as the first 3, but there's 4 good-sized blowholes. I was suggesting maybe until we get a definite on cleaning it all out, is on those blowholes, is just put like a number 2 rock in it.
Mhm.
That water could still filtrate down through there, but not suck out whatever top dirt you put in there. That way, at least you're eliminating a deep hole for someone to break a leg in.
Yep, that's a possibility.
It'll still let water drain away until we figure out what and how you wanna go about fixing it. Just some number 2 rock to fill those holes in,
Yeah,
so
that may not be a bad option.
that way it's still something filling a hole in, getting it to where you could drive a tractor over it. Somebody could walk over it, not break a leg or whatever, but it's still porous enough that water could drain down through it, and it's not gonna suck down through unless there's a huge hole down there that we're
Right.
not seeing, but I doubt if it's that big a hole, but
Well, I can dig that up and find out what's down there too.
That's a Band-Aid.
Yep.
It's not gonna
that
be
is
the,
a Band-Aid, yes. But that would at least eliminate his liability of the holes on the property and stuff, because that is his liability, those holes.
then we got the same issue. We're gonna dig it back up, we're gonna take the pipe out, then we're gonna get into the compaction issue again. So we're putting a Band-Aid on to alleviate his liability, but we're still not, we don't have any plans on how to fix it permanently.
Correct.
So if he can do it this year, you're gonna pay for the compaction part?
Nope.
Then I have a feeling we're at a stalemate,
All right.
unless you guys think otherwise. Because unless that comes out, I think we're wasting our money grading it, because it's just gonna do it again. The blowholes in that, because whatever's down there, it's gotta come out to fix it right.
Yeah.
Am I right?
It's gotta be fixed.
A pipe.
Whatever's down there.
Yeah.
Come out or covered over, patched,
Unless
whatever it may
he
be.
just goes down and fixes those blowholes, fixes that, leaves everything in there, and we just grade over top of it.
Rob, could you talk into your microphone, please?
If, I was just thinking if you at least fix the blowholes.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on. Green light's on. If you at least fix the blowholes, then
Hey, tap it on the top, but,
Can you hear him back there? Yes.
okay.
Okay.
fix the blowholes and just leave the pipe in, not take any pipe out. You wouldn't have to do any compaction. You're fixing everything there. Once he fixes whatever's at those blowholes, fill it back in with dirt, that tile stays down underneath there. We grade over top of it. Everybody goes home, but that's him having to fix the blowholes, not us.
So once he fixes it, fills it, how long are we gonna wait before we decide on this?
Well, by that time, we're probably gonna be next year anyway,
Yeah, 'cause
unless you get another contractor, because it sounds like Mike Rack's not gonna be available if he gets us other jobs.
I'm just thinking if you temporarily fix it and it just goes somewhere else and pops right back up, because we didn't take it all out.
It's a possibility.
yeah, we could just be moving the blowholes.
Well, that's always
to
a
other-
possibility, but there's a lot of farmers that do it all the time, that go down and fix a blowout, and
Keep moving.
it's good for 10 years, and then they have to do it again, or sometimes not. I mean, it's just, it is a gamble. I mean, the only for sure thing is to take it all the way out, but that's the only thing I could suggest to do, since we're at a stalemate. That way it's not costing as much money. since neither party wants to do the compaction of the, digging the tile out, so you just leave the tile in, just have Mr. Ferding fix whatever's there, or try to anyway, to keep from doing that.
What about if we could supply the gravel? Could we do that?
They were not fixing it.
Might for 10 years. It might get us by in the short term. That's the big thing.
The only thing is I don't want to put it off on whoever's trustee in 10 years again. I'd rather fix it and be done right the first time, because I've ran into, I don't know how many messes that we've had to go back and redo because it was done it, I'll say cheaply, wrong.
Well, I think we'd probably know pretty quick. Well, it's not going to take 10 years to know if it's a fix. If it's 10 years, that's a success. If it's 8 months, then we just fixed it short. It was actually a Band-Aid.
If you want to try that way, go from there. You guys want to see if he can fix it? Then we revisit it?
It's fine.
I'll fix the blowout holes. And I'll tell you now, I'm not coming back into this meeting about this easement again. I will fix whatever I have to fix to keep it moving on my side.
But we'll work with you. I mean, we're not throwing this over the.
Jeff is
Over the
getting
edge.
tossed over the bridge right now. It is. I've been in here since August of last year, talking about the same topic, and here we are in May, and we're still not gonna make a decision on this thing.
Well, you're wanting
I'm
us
gonna
to pay
fix-
for your part, and I'm saying
Well, it depends
we
on
shouldn't
whose
use
part is who.
taxpayer money to fix that part that's what you bought. You inherited the problem when you bought the place. Am I right?
The taxpayers of this township have an drainage easement across that property.
You're correct.
There is a responsibility of the dominant holder to maintain easements.
For the drainage.
Yep.
You're right.
So I'm gonna go fix my liabilities, and then the township can fix whatever issues arise out of drainage going across that easement.
Well, right now it is draining. It's not draining fully, but it is draining. Am I correct?
It is draining into blowholes. I'm gonna fix them,
So
because
how,
blowholes are not supposed to be there.
what's your, you gonna,
I'm gonna dig the tile up, I'm gonna cover it, fix the tile, patch it back, and I'm gonna fill the hole back in.
so you're gonna fill it with dirt, or you're gonna
I don't know if it's
that?
gonna be dirt or if it's gonna be gravel, but I'm gonna patch the tile that's down there.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be an entry point into that tile. Unless it's a slotted tile, then it's just gonna seep into it. Or we remove this easement, and I will take care of the whole thing, and nobody has to worry about it.
I don't think that's a good idea to remove that easement.
Why not?
Granted, they haven't had to use it in 30 years, but you just bought the place. What's to say you don't sell in 5 years, somebody else wants to build something there or dam it up?
You're
Then
not
what
allowed to.
recourse do we have?
You're not allowed to.
Well,
It's
what
drainage
you're not
laws.
allowed and what they do is two different things.
Well, there's an easement, it's not preventing me from building anything on it right now.
You're correct. If we dissolve the easement, what's to stop them from doing it then?
The easement's not stopping me from doing it. There's nothing written in that easement that says I can't build a fence across there, I can't build something else across there.
I meant like a building or something that dams the
Right.
water.
Well, I got news for you, fixing these blowout holes is gonna dam up the water. Cause it's got nowhere to go until it gets another 12 inches higher, and then God knows where it's gonna go. It's gonna go to the neighbor's house, or it's gonna go out and flood my field. At which point, when it floods a neighbor's house, it's the township's responsibility.
So when do you plan on fixing it?
They're probably gonna be able to hay off of it next week, so I'm probably gonna dig it the week after. Or within the next month or so, depending on when I get time to get back there.
Well, all I can say is let us know when you're gonna do it. We can always look at finding another person that could possibly do it as well. Because if you get it fixed, then we can do it. But until then, I can't do anything. Would you agree to that?
Define fixed.
Huh?
What's your definition of fixed?
Well, if it's fixed where the blowholes and the drainage is, which I would rather it removed, but if it's fixed where it's not gonna blow holes and everything else, then we can regrade it. Am I right,
That's right.
Tom?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to see if Mr. Rack ever got that, if he got the bid or got awarded it, whether he's free or not, I do not know right now. That's what he told me the other day.
Yep.
If not, I can look for another one. Contractor.
I would suggest we write up some kind of an agreement or the way forward. As we talk about this, we kind of lose pace where we were from the last meeting. So we can formalize in an agreement where, when, where, you know, who, what, where, when, why, and how much. And then we can work by that timetable. And we get a different contractor or see what Mike's doing. And we have you have a short-term option. If you want to fill it with gravel, I don't know where we are, if we want to supply the gravel or if we can supply the gravel, if that'll satisfy your issue short-term, and we'll still have the plan, and we can still work it, and we won't stop. We'll keep going until it's fixed.
Yeah,
Get it fixed.
But if he fixes the tile, you won't need the gravel. Because you were just using the gravel as a fill and to let it drain still, am I right?
Well, if you want to, you're the lead in this. You're the one that's
Top-notch I am,
driving,
Jeff.
it's your property, and you have the major interest in this, what you want to do to resolve your situation. So if you want to fill that, and you want us to come out and look at it, or if you want to take a shot, some pictures of it, and show us what's going on, so we can go from there at the next meeting, or come out and see you when you do it.
So it's
We don't
up to
have a
you
problem.
guys on how you want to handle it after here. Here's my direction. I'm going back, I'm going to fix blowouts, and I'm going to fill in the holes. And it is end of topic, end of subject for me. You guys can take care of your drainage however you feel, please.
I don't, personally,
That's where I'm
I
at
don't
on
have
this,
any
Jeff.
problem with that. I mean, if that's the way you want to do
You
it,
know,
that's
the
fine.
I will tell the neighbor, give your neighbor your guys' your phone numbers. When she starts having water issues over there in her yard and her house, and she can call you guys can deal with it however you see fit.
I think that's fair enough.
Okay. So this will be my last time in here about this.
Okay.
All right?
So you're gonna let us know when you do it?
No,
No? Okay.
I am done.
You're
I am
done.
going to go fix my property. The only way that you guys will hear from me is through an attorney. You will not hear from me personally. And that is only to see how this easement can be removed from this property.
Right. Fair enough.
I'm tired of messing with it.
Okay.
Okay? All right?
Well, thank you. All right, anyone else from the audience? If not, Mr. Galloway.
Okay, I'm going to start with the administration report. As we have seen numerous times over the last week, the CDC and now the Ohio Department of Health have adopted the new CDC recommendation starting June 2nd for no social distancing, no masks, basically resuming normal business. So with that, I would make a recommendation as of June 1st that we open the community center back up 100% and open the administration building back up 100% and renew and resume all business that we do, the historical society and all that as normal business effective June 2nd.
That's the direction I've been headed.
So move.
Second?
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, next I sat on and listened to the webinar on the 18th on the American Rescue Plan. This is the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. I read this today in the OTA that they passed a bill in the Ohio House and Senate to go up to the feds to put the townships back on language for them to get our allotted money as well as that. After I got off the webinar, I realized after they just told us they gave a condensed version and Chief Griffith was listening to it, with me. The full version was 151 pages of this. So I actually finished all 151 pages of it today, and it has 5 basic objectives that the money goes for. I might add, and I have that over there, and I can give you the quick synopsis of the 5, but I might add that if the county and that option that we said, just give us the $1 million or whatever, or the county themselves, they're going to have to follow these same guidelines. And there's a lot of stuff in there that I had heard through, the rumor mill or through newspaper articles that's not going to fly on these 5 things. So basically, the use of funds, and again, they categorize way deeper in the 151 pages, but it's a support public health expenditures, address negative economic impacts caused by the public health emergency, replace lost public sector revenue, provide for premium pay for essential workers, and the last one is the invest in water, sewer, and broadband. So that is the 5 categories, and with that there's a lot of inner details of it. One of them would be, again, kind of the same mix we had last time with the salary reimbursements back to us, as well as Rob, because disinfecting and all that of buildings is refundable. The thing about this one, though, is interesting, is it goes all the way through March, the end of year 2024. So you have a 3-year period to use this, not have to use it by the end of the year. So
2 more years, you're obligated in 2024, so you can keep it for 2026.
yes,
You're
that's right.
obligated
So with that, we're at a holding pattern, but now that we know some of the guidelines of it, if the county or the townships do get that funding to us, then we'll be able to know that the guidelines are, or if the county decides to give us whatever they do on the 13 townships, well, now it's 12 because Westchester got their own money out of this. The state gave the 3 largest townships in the state their own COVID rescue money. They gave Greene Township, Coleraine Township, and Westchester Township.
Wasn't that like 5 or 6 million?
Westchester got like 6 million. Yes. So I'm still on it, have a lot of the details on it, just we don't know if the language is going to add the townships into that mix, or if we're going to end up getting something or whatever through the county that you guys are kind of entwined with Commissioner Carpenter and those folks.
So when you said salaries, premium pay for essential employees, is that going back or is that going forward?
It's going back.
So
as
it's
well.
not as of what date do we go back?
I knew I should have brought that 151 pages
That's
over
all right,
here.
I don't want to read it.
It was quite challenging to read all that this morning, and I'll have to check on that, but I'll tell you what that is. That premium pay is that you can pay the essential workers that worked during the COVID and responded to it an additional $13 an hour, up to additional $13 an hour with a cap of I think like $25,000 a year to those workers, and that was the language in that. Going back, I'd have to again. Like I said, I read 151 pages today. Got all kind of scrambled in my brain, but I don't know if it was starting now or it reverts back, and I have to look at that. It's all highlighted. I can go right to the page, but I know for a fact, and Chief was on there, it's up to an additional $13 an hour when they were working during the COVID, responding and mitigating. So, yes,
It sounds like that might be a nightmare for Tina.
yes, because the way I read it today is. The way I read it today is that, and again, it's the interpretation of it is you would have to, could not have already been receiving some type of incentive. So if they were here on the $6 minimum manning extra, they wouldn't qualify for the 13. But if they're here regular scheduled responding, they would qualify to up to $13 additionally an hour. So again, a lot of stuff to digest in there. But I guess I'll caution the 3 trustees is if you have more meetings with Commissioner Carpenter or the commissioners in this whole thing, or the administrator Judy Boyko, they've got to follow it's the same money that they're getting. They got to follow the same rules. They can't just go out and build parks and stuff like that. It's not in there. So anyway.
So Can you elaborate on the broadband, and did it say anything about infrastructures? You said sewer and water and broadband. What about roads?
No roads,
No roads.
no roads.
No roads, no bridges, no culverts.
No roads. Nope.
That's what we need our money for.
I know. Now, the other interesting infrastructure was, which was in the deep 151 pages today, is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, is the culverts considered stormwater?
No,
Oh.
not,
Why wouldn't they be?
I don't think so, because
Okay.
stormwater would, I think is what they're talking is like in subdivisions where they have all these drainage come to here to get rid of stormwater. Yeah, a culvert is just,
It's a waterway.
They
it's a
lumped-
waterway, but it's not
It's
stormwater.
not
They
classified
lumped
stormwater.
stormwater into sewer.
So that's why I'm saying that there are two different things between a road culvert and stormwater. Stormwater is lumped into sewers because you gotta bypass the sewer, or you flood your wastewater treatment plants with stormwater, so you gotta have a separate drainage for stormwater from subdivisions and stuff, because if that all went to the same place, then you're gonna
Right.
inundate your wastewater treatment plants. So stormwater is a separate type of drainage than a road culvert or a bridge, because those are just spanning a waterway. It's not a piping system getting rid of water.
No,
Sorry,
it's
It's more of a
Ted.
contained,
It's going to a creek or some other natural drainage. It's not going to a pipe drainage sewer.
Right. So that was in there. They threw stormwater in with sewer for it, but that was it, no roads. Now, one of the other things that, and I had Chief calculate this afternoon, replace lost public sector revenue. We're down 30 EMS calls. That's lost revenue because of COVID. Nobody wanted to go to the hospital. So we estimate about $6,500 of lost revenue in there. The other lost revenue is estimating a year and a half of the administration building being closed would have been lost revenue. So there is some lost revenue there.
Administration or community?
I'm sorry, the community center.
community center.
Community center. So there is some scenarios there in lost revenue, not a whole lot.
Right.
But the other thing is that if you had a significant loss in like local government funds and all that, we really didn't. In fact, I think Tina said that we actually got a little bit more tax dollars in this year than we did last. So we can't show any loss of revenue in local government funds or something, but we can in the community center being closed and the 30 funds or whatever that were down on EMS. So, but I'll be glad you can come over to my office and I can share the highlights. I can bring it over next week. But again, it's all depending on a lot of things, scenarios. If the federal government adds townships into the language, and if the county just does a windfall with all the townships.
So what was the criteria for Colerain Township, Green Township, and Westchester? Did they
No,
have to follow
I
the
have
same?
no idea.
They were over 50,000.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, they were over 50,000 in population.
Your mic's
But do they have to follow the same guidelines
Yes.
as far as
Yes,
spending?
yes.
So they were able to justify $6 million worth of lost revenue and,
Oh, no, that's just that was their per capita.
okay.
So everybody, like when we got the CARES Act money and they divided it, you get divided by your population. So we got the like 325,000 or whatever. Everybody got it. Ross got a little bit more than us. Riley gets less than us because of our population. There's a formula there that the county auditor's office did for that. I cannot find it anywhere, and I did not get a hold of Mike Stein today or anybody at the auditor's office, but I'm sure you saw, I got interviewed by Denise Callahan in the Journal 2 weeks ago about this whole thing. And she told me, and I've still yet to find out her facts and where she got it, but she said Morgan was due to get 1.2 to 1.3 million. And I had heard Ross was getting like 1.8 million. So again, there's a per capita and a I can't think of the word I want to use that goes along with how much you get per your population stuff. I have not been able, I spent half the afternoon trying to find that, and I cannot find that.
Okay.
But they got it, they got the money because they're over 50,000 population, which is what the cities were getting. However, they have to follow the same rules. So now they just hand you 6.5 million. You got to follow all these rules and these five points. So You know, they may put more, they may beef up their water lines. You know, we could put more fire hydrants in the township. I mean, that's a legitimate expense. But some of this stuff for parks and all that kind of stuff is just, it's not there, so.
Okay.
So when they say broadband and all that, towers for like Wi-Fi, most of ours is run on the cables out here. If they put towers in, who pays for that?
The
Or
carrier.
who, is there a bill for like a Wi-Fi?
The carriers would pay it.
Who is it?
The carriers would pay it. Now, if you read, again, the quick short says broadband. The 151 pages today, and again, this would be a Chris or a AC, was like, it had like something like 833 megabyte. It had speeds that had to meet that criteria in the broadband. So I'm like, okay, you know, I mean, heck, somewhere there's a 5G tower around here, because if I turn my internet off, I get 5G right here. So somebody's plopped a 5G tower in here close. So I don't know where those are all at, somewhere in the township to
I
get
think
that.
AT&T did down on Art's Farm.
Yeah, it's down on.
Down by
Okay,
the
so
Lears.
I hit 5G at
Because-
my house and all here. So the broadband is probably throughout the township, through Cincinnati Bell or Fi Optics,
You could
probably
actually pay
matches.
for people who wanted it, who couldn't afford it and were impacted
Right.
negatively.
It's gonna be in like really rural areas.
Right.
We've got several options. We've got Spectrum, we've got
Yes.
Cincinnati Bell. I mean, there's many different carriers that are available out
But
here.
if
So
somebody-
I don't know
Yeah, but
that
neither one of them worth
we
a
could
crap.
fall into that.
Yeah, if somebody applied to you and they couldn't afford it, then you could run them broadband, and you could reimburse them back. That's the idea, is to bring broadband to rural and underserved areas. If you
So
read
could
it.
something like that be paid to take Cincinnati Bell or Spectrum and beef up the speeds out here?
I don't know. I don't know how you get back into the private,
How does
the
that
private
work?
world.
Should be able
To touch into the private world, I don't know how to do
I would
that.
say the speeds that they're mandating are probably much lower than we've had.
Yeah, they had an upload and download speed even mentioned. It was very specific
Yeah.
about both.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're lower
Is
than
that
what we've.
more than what we got now, or do you know?
It depends on where you're at. I met it, like I have it at my house on Cincinnati Bell, but there's people out here who don't have broadband still. And that's the whole idea of it, is to provide those people with the ability.
Is it that it's not available, or they just choose not to be?
They're impacted negatively, they can't afford it.
Okay. But it is available.
It's
in
available.
their-
Yeah,
in the-
Cincinnati Bell wired the whole
Yeah,
township.
the whole township's.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
done. It's just have they been financially able to hook into it? Or do they need a grant to do that?
So, to come, like I said, it's a lot of talk right now until we get the funding either way, or, you know, or if the county just doesn't do anything with the townships at all, then, so, yeah. But there's one more webinar. I forget when it is. I think it's in June. One more
It's in
webinar
June.
to close. Yeah, the June webinar is the last one of this, to just keep everybody in the loop, so.
When is all this supposed to be finalized?
I heard the first lump of money was supposed to come either July or August. Was when it's
So
supposed to-
quick question, when we bought, or when we ordered Rob's new truck and seeing how he's gonna be doing fire calls, can that truck be paid for out of this COVID?
There's no vehicles in this at all.
None.
That was a specific question on the webinar, and
It
they're
was.
like, nope.
It was no vehicles. That's right. There was a question on the webinar about vehicles.
Because I just, you know where I was
No
going with that.
vehicles. Yep, no vehicles.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
More to come.
Stay tuned. Okay, the next one, the Bell Road, I saw Tom's got on there too. So Rob was on vacation last week. He called me. He said, Jeff, there's some stuff going on with Bell Road. They want to do this, this, and this about a water line. And can you handle it? I'm on vacation. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So Mark Connor, which you have a copy of his email in there from the engineer's office. Mark Connor sent me a thing at Rob's request. Will you please look at this, of what Southwest Regional sent to them. So there's a map here you'll see. So in short, what Southwest Regional wants to do is they had asked to saw cut across Bell to tie in and I guess replace a 4-inch connection line from the main feeder down Bell Road to the other side of the road to tie in this, that services Whispering Woods, so just a new 4-inch tie-in. Rob suggested he'd rather have it bored, so it doesn't leave a big bump in the road when they saw cut it. I talked to Neil Bond from the Southwest Regional Water Department. They're one of their engineers, and he said, well, we can do that, but we'd have to go between 50 and 80 feet back into the farmer's field to get the right angle to just go across the 2-lane road. I'm like, okay. I talked to Brett. Brett had a suggestion, which I threw at him and said, well, can we get a hydrant out of this at that corner? So I talked to Neil and said, you know, if we allow you to do the saw cut across, will the water district put a hydrant in on that corner at Whispering Woods and Lehigh, or a Bell, in return for saw cutting it versus boring? And he said, well, I'd have to check. And I go, well, we're going to bring this up in discussion Monday night. There is a hydrant to the north of that intersection, maybe about 800 feet, I think there's a hydrant, and then there's another one about 1,000 foot south of that. So there's hydrants right in that area.
Right.
It would basically be a 1,000-foot lay or a relay down Whispering Woods to have a hydrant tied into that.
But is 4-inch
8-inch.
even big enough for?
No, what the feeder, the main line going down is 8. It's either 8 or 12. It's a big line going down Bell.
Because the main, if I remember, it's broke a couple of times, and I think when they replaced telephone poles, they hit it a couple of times. And it's on the east side of Bell Road.
Yeah.
And so they're boring across to get to the west side for what? That's where the hydrants are on the west side.
That's the line they're tying
That's the big
into.
line.
They're going to tie into that big 8-inch main.
Wonder if they could run.
Directly into the 8-inch main and then go
Okay.
back under the road to tie in so they don't do this again.
Okay.
Yep.
Could they run 8-inch across and then put the hydrant and then attach it to the 4 on the other side? Because that would get your flow that you need.
You can make whatever requests you like.
But we have 2 hydrants that are,
This would be
Distance.
beneficial to Whispering Woods. This would
Because then you
benefit
can lay it right
Whispering
down that
Woods.
road going.
It would benefit Whispering Woods, I mean, to a point, not all the way to the very back. You'd have to relay pump 5 or 6 times to get back there, but it would at least 1,000 foot and another 1,000 foot, so 2 relay pumps would get you about 2,000 foot down that road to a lot of the houses that are there. And also make a quick turnaround to fill tankers up if it was way in the very back of the road. But that's our intention, is to tie into that 8-inch main on Bell, and then have a permanent, a permanent 4-inch to go back under the road that's not going to keep breaking or deteriorating of whatever they put in the past. So from that point on, that's where I'm at. I'm going to refer this back over to Rob, because I'm not at all an expert on roads between saw cutting and what the end result's going to be saw cutting. So that's where I'm at, and I'm going to pass it to Rob on the more technical road stuff now.
So when you saw cut, after time, it's gonna sink
gonna
down,
sink.
you're gonna have a bump, right? Pretty much what it's
You
gonna
just-
do.
There's usually no way you can ever get around that unless you are 100% perfect on being a half-inch above the existing road when you put it in and you compact it back down, but then you're gonna get some settling. You're still gonna have a bump there. Anytime you do a saw cut, it's never a smooth surface again.
can you rotomill that out and fix it down the road to eliminate the bump?
Well, you can.
But is it going to always be a potential sink?
It
Sooner or later,
almost
it's-
always sinks.
Usually it always sinks, even if they use flowable fill and or what they call low density
Right.
fill and bring it back up and it settles in and stuff and they settle some. And then even if they go and they leave it high, then you got a hump and it's
Right.
hardly ever a perfect where you just drive across so you don't feel it.
The only thing you can
And
do is
that's
let
the
it
only
settle
reason
here
why
and come back
I was trying
and.
to keep from doing that is because we have no plans and we don't need to do any paving on Bell Road anytime soon. And if we was gonna be paving within a year or two, I wouldn't be worried about it at all.
But would the farmer let us go back into that field for one day
No,
to,
very seriously.
bore
He's
in?
gonna-
We had that discussion
he's
today,
gonna
me and
jump
Rob.
and scream, knowing the farmer that owns that.
who
They were
is
just
who is
planting
that?
it over the
I'd
weekend.
rather not say in a public meeting, but I mean, I think that he would be you would have to compensate him very well for tearing up his farm field, because he has the crops planted already, so.
I say if they give us a hydrant, cut it.
How about boring from the other side?
The way I understand it, they can only go from the one side.
Right, and that was, yeah, that's what,
Because you have you actually have the water line that they're trying to tap into on this side would be in the way of making the bores. So they can only go from the west side to the east side, that's why they have to get out in the farmer's field.
that is correct, that's
So, I
what
mean,
Neil said.
In all reality, I mean, it makes sense, it's easier, it's more cost effective, for the water association to do a cut. You know, it's gonna, it'd just be easier all around. I mean,
You just have to go back and do some dirt patching and,
basically, I was just trying to keep from having another cut, but is it the end of the world? No. I mean, it just, it might even slow people down if there's a bump there, so.
doubt it.
How wide does that cut have to be for an
It's
8-inch
probably
pipe?
gonna be at least 4 to 5 foot wide
And how long will that road be closed?
for a couple days. Probably, to be safe, I would say you'd probably close it for 5 days to be safe. But a good contractor, get in there, get out, probably a couple, 3 days to be in and out. So.
Depending on the weather and the time and how it
Right.
goes.
I mean, that has a lot to do with it. And then you also, you're going probably 6 foot deep in order to keep everything below the frost line and getting underneath the road and stuff. So, I mean, it's not gonna be a wham bam thank you man project. I mean, it's gonna take a little bit of time. So.
9 foot, 9 inches, they gotta go deep, looks like. Is that correct, Rob, where they've got that?
It looks
here?
like that pipe is
That is
6.5 foot.
9 foot, oh, hey, how about 6 foot, 6 inches?
Yeah, that's what I was
I
looking.
was gonna say, they have it at the bottom of the page, so 6 foot, 6 inches have gotta go below the road. But it does not show the width of the cut. Yeah, it's not showing the width.
So they're gonna have to go down deep enough, at least for a trench box to be put in there.
Well, actually, on that back, at bottom on the left-hand side, that cross-sectional, they've got a cross-section of the pipe, and it's got 1 foot 11 inches minimum. But that sounds awful
That's the
narrow.
width.
You'd need more than to get lay that pipe down in
I
there.
don't know what that is, yeah. That's the pipe right there, the 4 inch.
You'd
This
be
is-
surprised.
This is what's under there.
You may go big on both sides and you go narrow in between, because all you gotta do is put it together, lay it down in, you connect to both ends. You just need it big on both sides.
Well, that's just about the size of your bucket, too, so that
Yep.
wouldn't be a problem at all.
Let's say 1.1 foot, 11 inches minimum.
Yeah, they're probably using a 12-inch bucket.
So I guess they're just going a 4-inch pipe coming across.
Or 1 foot 11, they're
going
probably
back
using a
up.
2 foot,
Yeah.
or whatever, 18-inch.
And I don't know what's east and west. I'm assuming this is west. Tie into the big line and go back and go over here.
Should we try to get a hydrant there while we're here?
This is gonna be your decision. Neil Bond is on vacation this week, so he handed me off to another gentleman, Jason Francis, to call and see what the decision with the trustees were. And I told him I'd call him back tomorrow.
Thoughts?
Yeah, we can get it. I mean, but
Would you be even willing, if we can't get it, go halves on it, if we can get it together?
What's a
we have
hydrant,
to,
chief,
we have to have a
1,500?
they have to run a bigger main across under the road though, right?
They're only running a 4-inch across.
Yeah,
Or
that's
you
not-
just put it on the west side of Whispering Woods and Bell.
There's one right at the end of the field up there.
That's what I'm saying.
Is that gonna benefit as much?
It would
No.
basically dropping it there and just going straight down Whispering Woods would be the benefit of having it on that side. I don't know if they're gonna wanna take a 4-inch and then expand it to at least a 6 to put a hydrant on the other side. I don't know that because they're only going to the other side of the road.
Right.
That's not going to gain us,
It's
but,
like
but
24 feet
16,
or whatever.
16 to 20 feet on the other side of the road. So, I mean, I can explore some options with them, but I mean, the easiest for them would be to tap in a hydrant at the on the west side of Whispering Woods and Bell. Just, you know, right at that intersection there on the west side where the 8-inch line is.
But with that being said, is what they're doing now, they can do what they call a hot tap. They don't have to shut the main down to tap in this new 4-inch line into that. They can just tap it with the main on, where if they go put a hydrant in, they gotta shut that main down, then you're gonna have all the people without water while they put a hydrant in there, so they may not wanna do that because of that issue right there. That'd be shutting people's water off for several hours while they install a hydrant. Where just putting the 4-inch tap, the main's gonna stay live, and they're
Yep.
just gonna,
We put a saddle on it and drill right through it.
correct.
Yeah. So it's a township road. I mean, if we say no, their utility is going under it. They don't really need our permission to cut it, do they? I mean, if that
Well-
main were to break underneath that road,
We can tell them they have to bore it, no questions asked. We don't wanna cut on our road. I should say you guys can tell, I can't, you guys can tell them that. They're just requesting not to try to make it easier on them and cheaper on them. Cause it is gonna cost them more money, cause they're gonna have to compensate the farmer for his crops that they're damaging, and, you know, they have to excavate more out and to do their boring and stuff, and you gotta dig 2 pits on each side to drill from one side to the other, and
right?
where if you just go from the main to here, just dig a trench across, that is gonna be a whole lot easier on.
And I stand corrected, I look in the fine print and it's a 12-inch main going down there, not
Right.
8. That's big,
Yeah,
12
on the
inches is a
other side
very
of the
big
street.
main. Jeff, you had asked me, when the last time we did hydrants where we pitched in with the water district, either on Race Lane or Cincinnati Brookville, I think it was about $4,500 to $5,000 a hydrant was what the cost
Okay.
was.
We put some down in Shandon, we put them up 748.
Yeah, I think they originally were at 4,500. I think the last batch we did were like $5,000 a piece. They put them in, we just bought the hydrant and all the plumbing and stuff, so.
Then we actually got grant money back on that where it didn't cost us as much as we thought we were going to, because there was 3 of us involved in the money thing.
Yeah, the Cincinnati Brookville project didn't cost us anything. We did pay some on the Race Lane, but the one we didn't cost anything, the grant covered it all, so.
Because I want to say we issued almost 20,000 to one, and I think we only paid 12.
Yeah, it was like 10 or 12.
I think we put some extras in too, didn't we? Didn't you have a certain number, and then you said, well, let's put 5, 6
We did our
more?
share, they did their share. So like on Cincinnati Brookville Road, there's a total of 8. They put 3 in, we added 5 or something.
Yeah,
of
we
that
went
nature.
back
So
and
we-
seen where we wanted extra while they're
Yep.
doing it.
Yeah, same with Race Lane. We looked at some strategic places to add some, and we added some extra one over what they were already planning on putting in.
I say let them cut it, because all we're going to do is make them mad, and it just causes headaches.
Yeah.
And save them money. Maybe if you don't think we should do this hydrant, or if we can get the hydrant, I say put it in. But
We can ask.
I'll
but
negotiate.
The worst they can
I'll
do is say
barter-
no.
I'll barter for a hydrant, because I'm sure the compensation and the boring's gonna cost about as much as a hydrant.
if not more.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
sure the compensation's gonna be close to that.
yeah, okay. I will call Mr. Francis tomorrow. The only other thing that it came late in the mail, just maybe a week or so ago, and I left it, I put one in each one of your packets if any of the trustees are really interested in being on another committee, there's a Public Works Integrating Committee that's looking for some new folks to get on, represent the townships on this committee. And expires May 31st if you want to fill out the form and be on that committee.
I think this
So-
is where we're voting on the ones that are already here on it.
That
Oh, is
and
that-
also additional.
No, it's asking for additional
Additional
ones
ones
too.
too as well.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Yep.
Gary talked very lengthy time on this OKI. It's the OKI, Public Waters Work,
Yep.
that Thursday night.
It's
at the
asking for
VCTA.
no more than 3 additional nominees for these positions and their alternates. So it was, the way I read it is they were asking for more folks, but
Well, can Christine serve on this board if she's not a trustee, because she's not seeking reelection?
I do not know
She came
that.
out last week and said she's giving it up.
Done?
24 years.
Mm-hmm.
Christine Manischek.
And if I'm not mistaken, this takes a lot of time that she's put in just to do this particular one.
This OKI is another
Yes.
one that takes a lot of time and, yeah, so,
There's no way I'd even have time to even think about it.
yeah, okay. All right, I'm gonna go over to the fire chief's report. Number 1 is motion for firefighter EMT Brittany Irwin for her 1-year anniversary effective 5/24/2021 at a 30-cent an hour raise to $15.30 an hour.
So moved?
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Carol? Eight. Thank you. Next is, and you have his application in your packet, a motion to hire firefighter paramedic Mark Mittery, effective 5/24/21. Not sure how 31 got in there, but 5/24/21 at $17 an hour with a 1-year probation. Mark is the EMS paramedic supervisor at the Hamilton Fire Department. Just recently, Hamilton had a rule for forever that folks could not work at any other fire departments if they worked at Hamilton. They have since rescinded that rule, and Mark is wanting to join here. He's already picked up a unit night on one of the shifts. I think it's 2A, or picked up a unit night. So we both, Chief Griffith and I know him very well, and he's a really good, real good person and be a great paramedic and an asset to the department.
So you want to add and 1-year probation and volunteer?
Yes.
We can do that. I
Right.
never remember to do that, yes.
Part-time volunteer.
Yeah. So
Second.
moved. He seconded, so.
Okay. Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, excellent. After kind of going back and forth with Peggy from the Ross School District, head of transportation, they realized they really did have the title to the bus. So I now have it. They transferred it to us, and I just have to go down to the tag office and just finish the paperwork up. But they signed it over and titled it to us, that bus. So just FYI on that one. Next one is, you have in your packet, and I'm going to pass this around starting with Tom. So Lexipol, Chief Griffith and I listened to this about, I want to say late in November or December of 20. We listened to this presentation from Lexipol. And basically what this is that they actually come in and they write all the policy manuals. They clean them up. They write those they write them to withstand Ohio Revised Code, Ohio State statutes, Ohio law. So like right now, I write a policy and I don't know how it ties into anything if we ever got sued or questioned on it. They write the policies. If we have something that we invent and we tell them what we want in a new policy, they come and generate it. And Ross has it, as you can see, it's pretty well done as a policy manual. Oxford uses them as well. And we took a look at it. We were pretty impressed with it. Ross is very happy with it for them doing all their policies. They just say, hey, we want to create a new policy for, I don't know, going to the store. And they're like, okay, and they'll research it and how it affects Ohio law, revised codes, whatever, and then they'll start it, they'll bring it back to you, and here's the way we think it should read, and we're like, okay, great. So we read this, and there's a lot of benefit to this. Obviously, it's a very clean now policy manual that we have. But the other benefit to it is it's an annual, the first year with their discount to do the entire, right from scratch, the entire manual, daily training bulletins, the supplemental publications, the whole procedure is $2,543. I'm sorry, $2,543.20 a year for each year. But because we're with Highland Insurance, we get in somewhere, I had that in my, oh, here it is. So we get 50% off the first year, 30% off the second year, and 20% off the third year's cost of this for the renewal. And where did I put Carrie's information? It's going to cost us somewhere about
$12.72.
$12.72.
Yep.
Do you find it, Jeff? Because
It's on the second page
Yeah.
here.
Oh, there it is. Out of pocket, first year is $12.72. After we sent it, and actually late this afternoon, I checked with Carrie just to make sure this was all legit before I brought it up tonight. And she says, absolutely. And she sent me about 4 o'clock tonight the paper we have to fill out to say, yep, the resolution's happened. Send me the bill that when we pay this, send it to Highland. They send us the check right back for the $12.72. And it really costs us $12.72 to develop our own policy manuals through the Lexipol company.
It looks like we get a 30% on year 2 and a 20% discount
Correct.
on year 3.
Yep.
Is this only for fire?
So I asked that, Brett. I asked that. And they do not at the moment offer a manual book for townships. They do offer some policies and some procedures, but they don't offer the nice book that's like that for a manual for our township. It
Does
could
this
be
come in
coming
a
soon.
CD
but
too, or where it's on DVD, or is it only a hard copy manual?
Great
And I
question.
guess,
I
and
don't-
my
I
other
don't have
question
to-
is, how many of these manuals do you get?
That's a question I don't have. I'll have to ask Terry McDonald that. I'll have to ask her that.
'Cause
Now, Ross
whether-
had a ton.
Whether you have,
That's his spare. He just said, here, take that and show it. So he had a bunch of them on his shelf. So I'm not sure how many they do, but he had a lot of them. He didn't have just one. But the CD for the new employees and stuff is a great point. Plus, if they put it on a jump drive, we can just have it on a jump drive. So, so how many copies? Okay.
because you got 30 people, so you're gonna have to have 30 books minimum.
Yep.
Do you have to, like, subscribe for a certain period of time? I mean, it seems like the first year is their hardest.
Yeah.
So
No,
if
it's
you
an
add them
annual.
for the first year and then you
Add like 4 or 5 policies in a year, then you pay for it. Although, if, let's say workers' comp, let's say there's one in there that addresses workers' comp and the state changes their workers' comp, they gotta come back in and change that policy now to reflect the changes in the state. So they'll take a look at anything, there's personnel in there.
So they review it every year.
They review it every year, and then if there's changes in state law, statutes, ORC, they'll come back in and revamp that to follow the new changes in the state statutes and laws. So, I mean, again, I just wrote one and tweaked one the other day, but when we had the scope and all that, are we like really following what's in the ORC, or are we, you know, and I talked to their folks, and they said they have a lawyer that's a package that looks at all the legal side of and all their policies that we would write. So if we said, okay, I need to create one, like I said, for going to the store to get groceries, whatever, they would take a look at that. Their lawyer team, their implementation team would take a look at it before they wrote it. They would have all the scope, the purpose, and everything that would be legal in case we go hit somebody, go into the store or whatever. So
they're out of Texas.
they're based in Texas, although they're all over Lexipol's all over the country. They're all over the country. And again, because we're in Highland in the Ohio plan, we get the discount on our insurance company.
I like it. It's clean.
It's very
all
clean.
concise, right
It's-
there.
It is very clean. And I would have had Oxford's for you, but they didn't have a spare copy at the moment to loan me one, and I said, okay, but they're very happy with using it as well.
So they're using Lexipol too?
They are too. Oxford is too. Yep.
Yeah, I like it because legally, All it takes is one time, it would pay for itself in a heartbeat.
I think that was a strong point. We heard the presentation is the legal aspect of, and they'll take all of our current policies now, revamp them, make sure they're legal. They might have to tweak them now to say, okay, this is not really legal. Here's the verbiage of the language you got to put in it, rewrite it to the policy now that we have in place with the legal and verbal
So they'll
verbiage
take
in
the
it.
content on us, they're not just gonna change the top heading from Ross Township to Morgan Township.
Yeah, it would look a format just
Right.
like that.
But-
Yep. And categorize it in the personnel and
Right.
operations and administration and all that. It'd be identical to that, except it'd be Morgan and our policies. Some of ours follow what they do, and then we have some different policies that Ross doesn't have in theirs, so.
Too bad they don't do township books.
Believe me, I asked that. And they said, well, we do some policies, but we don't do a complete manual like that, but it could be in the future. So that's what I got, was it could be in the future. So,
I was gonna say, do they want us to be the guinea pig and we get a big discount?
I can ask when I call back tomorrow. I think the benefit is if they do anything of the nature with Ohio Plan, we would get discounts on it, you know. So.
So where was the full price on this? It's not on here?
It is. It's on the, if you flip the page over, it's up in that little, in the box. It says over on the total. This right here, Exhibit A, Brett.
I don't
It's
have
right
that.
there.
It didn't come out.
Uh-oh.
Back page didn't come out.
Okay. I don't know how that happened. So there is the
Only
actual
got the-
price. Now you'll have to vote that in, and then, like I said, we send it to Highland to
Right.
carry, and then we get back to 1272, or half.
Go ahead, you got it.
All right, I'll make a motion to, for a PO to Lexipol. Is it just Lexipol? For an annual fire policy manual and daily training bulletins with supplemental publication services with fire operation procedures for 12 months. For a PO of, should I make it for the whole amount? $2,543.20.
Second.
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes. Chief, I just have one question. Is this after the 3 years, or can it be canceled if you don't feel that it's living up to your expectations?
We
Or
can cancel it after 3, or if we go into the 4th year, there'll either be no discounts annually, or Highland Insurance may come up with something after the 4 years. But this is the first 3 years, discount to 50, 30, 20.
Okay.
Yep.
Should we put that in the motion that we will be reimbursed $1,272 from Highland?
You certainly can if you want to reread it and say with a 3-year savings of 50% first year, 30% second year, and 20% the
20%.
third year.
Through our insurance carrier?
Mhm.
All right. So I'll make a motion for a PO.
I'll amend the motion.
I'll amend the motion for the
Yes.
PO for Lexipol to include that we will receive a 50% discount the first year, a 30% discount the second year, and a 20% discount on this amount, $2,543.20, through our insurance company, the Highland Group.
Second, again?
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next is, Chief Griffith has got the Medi-Cal billing report that Jeff had asked for the last meeting. He's going to review that, and then I believe it's going to be his final COVID information update. Hallelujah.
Unless you want him to keep coming, but I think
Hallelujah.
the final one.
But I need to go, and Tina and I are going to kind of tag team on this. So in your packet, you're going to have a Gmail email that's stapled, and it's from Carrie. It says, "Hi, Tina." So when we came to the board last meeting, they inadvertently, and Carrie had contacted Carrie had contacted Tina about this and apologized. They have a new person in the department, and the motion we voted on for the Provident insurance, that was like our version of Aflac and all that. The discount was actually to Highland and not to us.
That was their broker fee. They had a new person. She sent us minus the broker fee.
Right.
Because as I was looking at the bill, I thought, this doesn't say discount, this says broker fee. So I called her, and that's what happened.
So you actually have the email from Carrie that says, hey, sorry, we discussed this, it's on us, we're sorry. But, so we need to rescind the PO from last meeting to Provident Insurance, and now do a new one and actually it's to Highland. That's where we're getting messed up.
Yeah,
It's
it's
actually to Highland. We need to rescind the PO last meeting to Highland Insurance for the additional health commercial coverage, and then issue a new one today for the 5638.
What was the original? 40?
80,
It was 40.
2021.
It was 48 something.
It's right here, 40, it was 47, 92, 30.
Okay.
Thanks, Brett.
That's right, there's the resolution if you want the old one.
All right. Do you want to amend it, or is this one, can
Probably
we amend?
We can't adjust up, we
Okay.
can only
All right.
adjust down.
So I'll make a motion to rescind resolution number 80-2021.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Second.
Motion approved.
All right, and
Yes.
make a motion for a PO to Highland Administrative Services for our supplemental coverage for accidental and health from Fire Fund 2111 in the amount of $5,638.
So moved.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, that is all I have tonight. Chief has got the med account and the final COVID. Do you have any questions for me?
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, in your packet, Jeff asked me to look into the whole billing process and what happens. So in your packet, I have everything a resident or non-resident could possibly get. So the first thing in your packet is you'll see a green one that says for informational purposes only. You see that example there where it says that's what people who are marked as a resident of Morgan Township get. And you can see where it says, this one is an example where there's insurance paid and the rest was written off, and you'll see the amount is 000. So that's what every resident get. They get 3 of these for the reasons like your EOB, that's what they get. The second one is what non-residents get.
Well, let me ask you,
Sure.
Jeff, is this a new addition for the informational purposes only?
No, this is what they
So
get.
this bill, when it comes in, that's clearly
Yes.
shown to the resident,
It's
right?
clearly shown to the resident. It
Okay.
also says total amount due 000.
I have never seen this bill, so
First
thank
one,
you
or
for
all three of them are the
sharing
same?
this.
Yeah, well, I'll show you the second one. So the second one is what non-residents get.
Okay.
And you'll see that has a amount on it. This example is $811. Every non-resident gets this. So I believe what happened to this person, if they got one like this, is we make the designation when we do the electronic health record. There's a spot for us to mark resident within the district or not.
So a non-resident, you're not going to soft bill, you're going to direct.
No, we soft bill them,
Okay.
but sometimes people feel the need to pay. Like there's some that still, I see the billing reports, there's a guy who's been paying $10 a month he's on his 3rd year. He feels obligated to pay his bill. Even though we don't hard bill or balance bill for the balance, we don't hard bill anybody.
So this, for the resident, it's clearly shown.
Yes.
Don't pay this bill.
Don't pay this. And
Now, for
you-
the non-resident, it doesn't show do not pay this.
because they're a non-resident, their taxes don't support us.
So they are going to pay this bill.
They can, or they can choose to throw it away, because we don't hard bill.
So
So
you're
in other
not
words, if
going
they don't pay it, we're not coming
We're
after
not going to
them.
go after them. We're not
Gotcha.
gonna go
All right.
after them.
Okay.
Now, if somewhere in the electronic health record, if they click the button, not resident within the district, a resident could inadvertently get this bill. It could happen.
Okay.
You know,
Do you think that's what happened?
I
in this
absolutely
case?
believe that's what happened in that case. So,
Okay.
somebody, either they asked, for whatever reason, that's the only eventuality that could happen, is one of our crew just hit the wrong button in the EHR.
Or
But,
they could have been a resident that never changed their driver's license
or,
and still
No,
show them out of.
No, this wouldn't be
that
the
does
case
happen,
on this
though.
one.
hey, there's a lot of things that has happened, sometimes it just happens. And she said also, sometimes, for whatever reason, they have a glitch, and even though we did it correctly, they get this bill. They said sometimes these slip out. They said nothing is 100%. So, they could be that way. The third thing,
They
that
get 3 bills, correct?
3 bills.
And all of them are the same.
All of them the same.
Okay.
The only other thing they might get is the last thing you see here, and
Right.
the last thing they get is just our request to get insurance information so we can start a billing process. They may also get a phone call after they get this 3 times, and it clearly says at the top, this is not a bill. We're just trying to get your information. You know, when you go to your doctor's office, they take your insurance information. When you're in an EMS situation, that doesn't happen. So they also can get this and say, please give us your Medicare number, please give us your insurance card number, whatever we're trying to bill your insurance. But they can once again choose to not do that, and we don't ever bill them.
Okay.
No one is obligated to pay it, but some non-residents, for whatever reason, they do pay it. But I believe on this occasion that, for whatever reason, either checked on the wrong box or Medicare had a glitch, they did that. I did ask about modifying it and putting across the top, you do not pay this bill no matter what, and they use the same bill for all 325 agencies they bill for. So customization is really not a possibility at this point, but I asked, and they're taking it up their chain. I don't know if we get that answer, but maybe I can put, if you're a resident, just throw this away, or some verbiage to that, but they haven't answered back because we're kind of a small fish in their big pond. But I do have the request going through the company's hierarchy,
Thank you, Jeff.
so I hope that answers that.
Yes, it does.
Okay. And then I'll make this my last COVID. What's COVID? Anyway, the numbers are dropping quicker than Bitcoin. They're down to 93.7 per 100,000 in Butler County. The numbers just keep falling exponentially. You know, 50 was per 100,000 was the original for the governor to open everything back up, but he gave up on that because I don't think you'll ever get that. We do have one of the 43% of Butler County's vaccinated. And actually, Morgan Township has one of the higher vaccination rates, but there's some up above Middletown that it's the lowest in the state. And it's just, you know, that's a personal choice. So the numbers continue to drop, deaths continue to drop, hospitalizations, everybody's kind of getting back to normal, whatever normal might be. You know, we're opening up we're just storing our PPE for the next pandemic, I guess, but if anybody needs a mask, I got plenty. I got about 500 cloth masks, if anybody wants one. And you know, we'll see what these numbers go in the fall, but all you all that have Moderna, I was reading today, you should probably expect to get your booster about, if you got it when we got it, probably October, 9 to 10 months from when you got your shot, you'll have to get a booster. So, something else to look forward to. That's it. It's last COVID.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brown?
First off, need to make a new resolution to the Butler County Engineer's Office, so I guess we need to rescind the resolution 42-2021, which was for the amount of $12,533.18. Need to rescind that motion.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Then we need to make a new resolution for $13,655.05 for retracing of various roads in Morgan Township. And basically it needs to be spelled out just like the one we just rescinded, for Chapel Road from 126 to Alert New London at .73 center lane miles and 1.47 edge lane miles. Race Lane Road from Alert New London to Howard, 1.560 center lane miles, 3.130 edge lane miles. Howard Road from Race Lane to Howard's Creek, .72 center line miles to 1.440 edge lane miles.
Is these the correct roads? This was
Yes.
just an example, okay.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Shawling Road from California to state line, 1.708 center line miles, 3.560 edge lane miles. George Road, 1.67 center lane miles. There is no edge lines on George Road. South Dwyer, 1.40 center lane miles. There are no edge lane miles on South Dwyer.
All right, so I will make a motion to approve the roads he just said per miles for a total of $13,655.05 is my resolution.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes,
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
and just for the public's knowledge, the reason we had to redo this, the price of paint went up, and it was a lot higher than what the county estimated
That's
it
when
to
was
be.
done.
And that was because
Thanks to COVID.
that was because of paint prices.
Yep, because of paint prices going up.
Okay, had a complaint about the same place that you did, Jeff?
It's a lot
Shane,
worse.
Shane said he was gonna have that done in the middle of April. So
It's
I
a-
don't know why that schedule slipped, but he said it's on his plan.
Well, it's now, it's not just alligator, it's got
It's a big hole now.
there now, so, because the big trucks keep bouncing it out.
Was it Joe Kelly that mentioned that to you?
No, this was a guy by the name of Ken Hyde.
And it was that way and about took my teeth out when I drove over the other night.
Yeah. So it's definitely gotten worse. from
I'll
when you-
call him, since I talked to him, I'll call him tomorrow and ask him if they
I
had to
didn't
slip.
talk to Shane, but I called out and left a message with the secretary, so,
Okay.
but the more squeaky wheel there is, the
All right.
better, so. Still Durapatch on Schraden Road, hopefully we'll finish that up this week, maybe even tomorrow. We're gonna put out our flags in Shandon and Okeana and all the cemeteries this week for Memorial Day. All roadsides, we've mowed over them once, so when we mow the second time, we'll try to get back a little bit further than we did, but
Are the flags still in good shape?
yes.
Okay. Just checking.
Are we putting, do you know if anybody puts flags on veterans' graves in the cemeteries?
We do that, but there is a lady in Shandon that has requested that she has some boys that wanna put them on the veterans flags in the Shandon Cemetery. So I told her, I walked her through the cemetery, showed them where all the veterans were. So she's gonna put them on in there, but we go and put them on all cemeteries unless a Boy Scout group or a group comes and asks to do it. We've got flags to put them on every veteran's grave on Memorial Day and Veterans Day,
Okay.
and 4th of July. We do those three main holidays, we put flags on all the veterans' graves.
All right.
And that's all I have, unless trustees have anything for me.
No. All right. Mr. Marshall.
Okay, you have there, starting out with violations, the two I've specifically been working in this week is 5022 Cincinnati Brookville Road. I sent them an email message today, and within 30 minutes, I received a call back on it. The vehicle will be removed as soon as possible. I'll keep checking on that one. 3687 Scott Avenue, the debris and high grass, they have started working on that, by the way. Also, I wanted to put on there that I am sending a letter, and I thought I had it on there, I should have read this. I'm sending a letter to 3872 Shonling Road, our dear friends, concerning it. I've gone back out, and their pictures, the place is back to being just like it was when we first met them in 2019. The brown Chevrolet truck that was sitting there 4 years ago is still there now. They said it was operable when they were in court, but the judge ruled that it was inoperable at that time because it was sitting there and it had a bunch of tires around it and everything else. It is now sitting up on car jacks, so it's even more. There's 2 other vehicles that are, I know, to be kind of in the inoperable vehicle. The certified letter will go out tomorrow along with US mail letter, giving them 15 days to clean it up. This is the second violation that we possibly are working with on the same thing. And if they don't get it done in 15 days, I'm taking them back to area court, okay?
I have not been out there recently, but are the bushes grown up?
No, the bushes at this time,
They're not blocking
not
visibility
blocking.
on?
No, I should have brought, I intended to put the pictures up tonight, but I just
Okay.
didn't do it.
I've gotten 3, a couple of them I forwarded to you, contact us messages of residents that are complaining about that property.
Yeah.
One is an owner that's got his property up for sale and real estate agent.
Right, that's
based-
Mr.
Mr. O'Reilly.
Mr. O'Reilly, and I
Said
I
that,
sent him a message today, giving him exactly the information that I
Right.
gave you, okay?
Okay.
And everything else, so on that side of it. Actually, I know what I did. This is last meeting's, my last meeting's report. I sometimes take that report and then just put in new stuff and everything else, so even though it says the 24th on it, because then I usually save it as the particular date, so I'll just have to go from there. And everything, make sure that's right. Yep, that's right. It's the wrong report when I printed them out. Certificates, in the last time, there's only been 4 new ones, okay? And 3 of them, well, one of them had come in and but via email, and I was waiting on the check to come through. That's for an addition of a screened-in porch and a deck on New Haven Road. The other two have come in for above-ground pools with removable stairs. And then today, Dennis Donovan came in for a barn crafting bill for a detached garage on Kearney. So that was all the activity for certificates for the 2 weeks at this point. The business registration, Captain Fonz did reply and said that he will make the meeting for the registration piece on the 2nd. So that will be focused on the video and other methods that we will use.
Is that at 7? That's at 7 p.m.?
7 p.m. on June the 2nd, okay?
Okay.
The Land Use Steering Committee met. You have the minutes in your packet, okay? At least that is correct.
Yes.
You have the minutes in your packet. I figure that it would just be nice to do that in the future. I will probably just email those to you. We had a very good meeting. Andy Mayer, who is going to be our major facilitator, said that we had an excellent opening meeting, and we are on track to work hard for the months to come, and everything else. And then the last thing I have is you have in your packet, we spoke about, I forget, Brett, did you ask, or at the meeting somewhere along the way it came up, Tom, you did.
Tom mentioned it.
Oh, no, it was in a contact us, wasn't it? On medical marijuana here in this dispensary here in the township. At this time, as far as I know, we have no medical marijuana dispensary in the township. Does anybody know of anyone? Okay, good. All right. I went back through the meeting minutes of 2000.
I can find it. I found it.
You found it?
Yeah, let me see if it's January, the 2nd meeting or the 1st meeting. Hold on just a second.
What year was it? I must have missed one.
January, it's either January 9th or the 2nd meeting. I gotta find out. It's 2018.
Oh, I didn't go
This
far
is
enough.
the 2nd time it was brought up, if
This
I remember
is
right.
second
This is when
time?
I brought it in here to you to take to the commission.
Okay,
And then I did not find it when it was brought in front of all the trustees, but I know it's a few years back. I'm not even sure if you were a trustee yet when it was brought the first time. So I did find it, and I found the resolution, and it's a lot longer than the one you got.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to see it, I can make
Well,
a
no, if
copy
there's a
of it.
resolution, if there's a resolution, then we're
It's a
covered.
sample one. We did not do it.
Oh, you didn't,
This is from Liberty Township.
oh, okay.
They had sent out Roger Gates and all them. So if you want to make a copy of it,
Well, this was from Mary Ann Nardiello's, one of the assistant
and the one they got
attorneys.
is 3. Yeah, big difference between yours and mine. That's why I said I will make copies of this after the meeting. At least you can see it, and we'll go from there.
Okay, because the least that the zoning commission can do is put it into the non-permitted businesses, okay? Not permitted as a business at all. But it takes that resolution to be passed before we can do it as well.
And
to
then I guess
support it.
that's something I can make copies and give it to here, and if we decide to do that, then we do that. Yes, Daryl, you want? Let me get your mic.
I just want to ask, can I get a copy of that you guys are?
Yes, I can make you a copy of that.
I know something about
Anything else on that, Dale?
No, that's all, and that's all I have, unless you have something for me at this time.
Okay, you guys good?
Yep.
All right, Tina Cox.
Okay, the only thing I have tonight is, I just wanted to notify you that PO 72-2021 to LCNB National Bank for the Firehouse Improvement Bond Payment, the interest portion was reduced in the amount of $273.75. And we can do that, we can adjust a PO down, just not up. Because the amortization schedule payment list that I had to request the payment is not viable anymore because I was unaware that you all made a $15,000 extra principal payment in December of last year. So
It brought the interest.
that payment, and I did call her when I finally got, because we didn't get the paper from the bank telling us the amount to pay to send back in until after the last meeting that I asked for it. And she said that she's trying to get them out at the beginning of the month that she usually does, but she's just a little behind. So I explained to her the situation that I have to ask for this ahead of time in order to make this payment on time. So hopefully, when we get, the squad one was late the last time too, but it was correct. So, that's all I have.
All righty, thank you. Mr. Cole?
I talked to Neil Westridge about the 1858 building, and he had mentioned that he thought that the building may be painted by the end of May. Does anybody have any?
I've reached out to David Evans, and he told me about 3 weeks ago that they don't start painting exterior buildings until like the beginning of the June-ish timeframe. So he hasn't even gotten back with me. I'll reach out to him again, but they normally don't start painting buildings outside exteriors until like first part of June.
Close enough.
I'll send him an email tomorrow
Okay.
because we still need our parts list. We still need how much materials
Yep.
we're going to buy, the gallons of paint and all that stuff. So I'll reach out to David Evans. But yeah, he doesn't even paint in the spring because of the cold weather or rainy days and stuff. So
Okay,
still on their radar though, yes.
okay, very good. That's all I got.
All right, Mr. Brucker?
We already talked about the water main on Bell Road, but I've gotten quite a few contact us messages. Some of them we've already talked about, some concerned citizens about the Beethoven property on Schraden and State Line. But last meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, did you not state that the railroad tracks on Alert New London by Chapel, or Chapel and Alert New London have been repaired?
That's what the repairman told me, but I looked at that.
A
It doesn't look like it
person
was,
contacted us and said they wanted me to make sure, so I went back to the tape and you did say it was repaired.
And that's
they
what the-
said it has not been repaired.
Yeah.
You know,
I
it's
will-
definitely still
I will talk to our local friends again.
Okay.
And ask them
All right.
what they actually did to that, because I drove across it tonight and hit it, and I thought, that is the same way it's been for the last
Okay.
6 months.
All right, that's all I had.
Okay.
That's all you got? We already talked to water main. All right, I received a call from John Bulak. Was discussing the farm property down here on 129.
126.
You're right, 126. He lives on 129. My bad. Got him reversed. Because his field gets water. So, and he said that the water had come across the road. I said, well, next time you see that, get me a picture. Well, he called and told me he got a picture. So he gave me the picture. Only problem is I think, because I told him, well, just send it to me on your phone. I think the picture is an old picture, and from everyone I've talked to, I talked to Rob, I talked to Connie, I was going to try to get a hold of Mark, but I've never heard of the water going across the road.
Where at on 126 is this?
Just west of
Right.
where JR lives.
Yep, right there between Reinhardt's farm, and then there's his farm and Walt Westridge's old, where he used to live. So if you guys want to see that, but I've never seen the water come up, and I don't ever remember hearing about it.
Have you seen it?
But that was news to me, and I don't know if they look like old pictures to me. Because he's complaining about the water that goes down into his field, but from what I'm seeing so far, I'm thinking he just needs to put field tile in, but I
Does
will
that
look
have a
at
date
it,
on the back
and
of
that's the
that
first time I had ever seen it. And I'd ever heard about water going across that road. It's first to my knowledge.
That's a pretty big, that's got to be like a 46-inch
Says
culvert
95.
pipe that goes under
Well, there's
126.
multiple ones right
Down
down through
right
there.
by.
Yes.
Maybe he sent y'all, but he can't.
Maybe.
Who's Dad's driveway?
You talking about right there at the farm on down towards, before you get to Weaver?
2005.
And wait,
You can tell just the yellowing of the picture and the gray.
Yeah.
It's not.
yeah.
That might be new.
Is that where it comes down the driveway and out on the road? Yes. No, this
Oh, no.
is
You need to take a look at these pictures,
a
Darrell.
whole different area.
Those pictures are from '05.
They're from '05?
These are.
I
this
bet
one's
that
an
one's
older
new.
That gentleman wants to see the pictures.
Those are 05s.
So it's the first time I've heard of the water. I had talked to Rob.
What's it say on the back top?
Do you remember what year,
Black and a lot number, it doesn't say.
Rob, do you remember what year they ditched that on the other side of the road there?
Not right offhand, I don't.
Because I'm almost wondering if this was, they've ditched it
Darryl.
after that.
Darryl.
Because I don't remember that being done on that side since I've been a trustee, and that was 2010. But I know they ditched it.
I think it's been ditched since they did, this picture's been taken. This is looks to me like the newest picture, because these aren't out in the road as far. And this is pretty much, that's the same mailbox there as it is here. So there it's not out in the road, but here it is out in the road. It's out past the white line, ponded into westbound lane. That's the westbound lane. There it is running across the road, and you can see where it's pulling up in this ditch over here. But, and that's, well, there's a concrete, or the drive that goes up over the hills there, and then here's, the Wutzelbacher boy lives there.
Doug.
Yeah, Dougie Wutzelbacher, that's his mailbox.
Griffith, you ever seen that one on runs done like that? That's,
I've never encountered water across any runs.
because I asked him last time he thought it flooded. He said it's been a while, but he's complaining about the water. It's always so wet in his field. And I don't know that there's anything
You can
we
drive
can do.
past there now and you can see the wet spot in his field there, and that is from whatever's on that side of the road that's leaching through the road over there, but, yeah, I think since that last picture there, I think it's been, the ditch has been cleaned out, but.
Yeah, because he said when they ditched it, the water's going the wrong way now, is what he says. That's what I've been told, so I'm not, that's where I was at. So, I guess we'll monitor it, see if for the next heavy rain, I'll go down and look. Last few times it's rained hard, I've been in Kentucky, I wasn't here, so I couldn't go. All right, the other thing I got a letter from the Butler County Commissioners, and they are seeking people for the Planning Commission. So if anyone's interested on that, give me a holler, or you can call Dale as well.
Well, Jeff and I both have sent our little resumes in.
Well, I know that, but if anyone else is
Yeah.
interested,
Yes.
or they can call the Butler County Department of Development at area code 513-887-34. Also went to Thursday night, the Governor Bev Park meeting that they had at Governor Bev. They had 3 different meetings. And from what we've seen that was here in the township, they had Plan A, they reduced it down to Plan B, and now they've got it down to Plan C. And basically, they're really not going to do hardly anything to Governor Bev. Because most of the people that have turned anything in or said anything have been against it, don't want it changed, and want to keep it the way it is. So, and I believe they are taking comments until the end of this week. The only other thing I got, the computer room. It's always really hot, and I wonder if we shouldn't have maybe a cost or an estimate to put one of them inside-outside air conditioners, a self-unit, because that's a lot of money in there to go bad for it being hot in those computers. I don't know if we should have like
Control comfort.
Control Comfort, I couldn't think of their name. A couple others, look at maybe a cost of putting one of them units, it's like a wall unit that goes on the inside, outside.
Ductless.
Yes.
Ductless air conditioning.
Because I don't want all that to go bad, because that's awful warm in there on them computers.
We just seem to go through those portable units like
And
crazy.
they're not holding up, they're not working, and
Is that the one from the upstairs of the firehouse? And that
I
one's,
believe it is.
because you go in there, it was warmer in there than it was in here, and it was warm in here when I got here.
75.
It was 75 in here, and it was a lot warmer in there than it was in here.
Or could we maybe, as a fix, try to cut a vent through the hole, through the door, where it turned, like, just let air, whatever it is in the room.
You'd almost have to have two hole where you could have an inlet and an outlet where it could flow in there.
My problem is those computers put off a lot of heat.
They do.
In that small room, even with that air conditioner there, it's not working. And you know, we probably got what, $20,000-$30,000 in computer equipment in there.
Yep.
I think it behoove us to make sure that don't go bad.
Oh, man, I can't remember it. You want us to, well, we can start by calling Ken Ashcraft. And
Maybe get a few quotes and see what that'll cost. And
I can't think of that unit.
I'd rather not be buying all that new.
Right.
Okay.
And I believe that's all I got, unless anybody else has got anything.
I got two things. I forgot to mention during Dale's thing that I did hand the code enforcement job announcement to my one contact who was going to pass it through his friends that are all retired law enforcement. So I haven't heard back, and I don't think Dale's heard back yet either, but I did that last week. And the other thing is, hot off the presses from OTA, is after weeks of uncertainty regarding the Ohio Township's eligibility status for direct American Rescue Plan funds, the U.S. Treasury today announced that further guidance regarding the non-entitlement units of local government. Basically, the Treasury has left the final determination of Township's eligibility for the American Relief Rescue Plan up to the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
So now it's up to the state and the Office of Budget Management to say if townships are included in that. The feds have left it to the state.
Dale, do you care to start a folder on that?
No,
I'll just
I'll
keep
start
those
one.
pictures.
Sure.
Okay.
One quick thing that I forgot to mention is the flower pots in front of the building here. I had asked Jill Evans to help me out to put some flowers in there to kind of spruce up the front of the building. And she went and purchased some flowers and planted them and has been making sure that they're being watered all last week and stuff. She did it last Monday. Anyway, I asked her to give me a bill that I would pay for those flowers, but she donated all that herself just to keep the front of the township looking nice. So
Thank you, Jill.
Thank
Jill
you, Jill.
Evans did that, and that was an appreciation for the trustees and their help with her time when she was with the, well, she still is with the Historical Society, but while she was president, so she donated all that time and effort and flowers to beautify the front of the buildings.
And she's going to return and water them every week, because she did today.
Great. Thank you.
That's it.
Anything else?
Nope.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved. We are adjourned. I'm supposed to say that.